Still isn't very good, is it, folks? Oh, it's weird stuff called sunlight coming in. A little bit hazy. Well, clear as a bell on the phone. Blurry as all get out on my laptop. So I don't know what's going to happen. Hey, Shane, how you doing? Oh, me. Hey, Lily. It's clear to you, Shane? Good, because I'm looking at it on my laptop, and it is blurry as all get out. Looks bad out of focus. We'll give folks a little bit of time to ease on in here. Hey, Tom. Let's see. Girl Crazy Rock Star. That's a heck of a name. How you doing? I believe this is the first time I've seen you on a live stream. I've seen you comment a couple times on other videos, but I don't think you've been into a live stream before, have you? Oh, I'm having to lean because sitting up like this, I'm not in the middle. But if I turn my camera, I've got sun coming in the back door and it's causing a pretty bad lens flare. Bob, you made it. How are you doing? Let's see. And Josh, he's in from Australia. All kind of folks coming in today. We'll give everybody a minute or two to come on in. For the regulars, June Carden won't be here tonight. She texted me earlier. She had a funeral to go to this afternoon. Well, Bob, I have felt better, but I have felt a lot worse. So I guess I can't complain, because if I did, it wouldn't do any good. Anyway, June won't be here. Her best friend's 16, 17-year-old son was on his way to work Wednesday morning in his pickup truck and crossing train tracks at an unmarked crossing on private land, and freight train got him, and she's at the funeral, so she won't be here. Y'all keep that family in your prayers. It's bad when family dies, but man, I cannot imagine burying one of my children. We are not supposed, our kids are supposed to outlive us. We're not supposed to bury our children. Let's see, anybody else sneak in here? Linda, you got in here and I didn't see you. How are you doing? Shane, for you folks that don't know, I keep saying Shane. That's Kinfolk Farm of Georgia. Shane, from the title of tonight's live stream, I'll bet you know where I got that from, because I'm not copying somebody else's video, but I'm sort of responding to a video on a channel that I know you watch. Yeah, Lily, that's terrible. Well, we'll give it about 2 more minutes, and people aren't in here about 5 minutes after. We'll just get the show on the road anyway. How's that work for y'all? And I hope I don't have a coughing fit this time. Gosh. Bad enough when I'm coughing when I'm making recorded videos and I can edit them out. Really stinks on live stream. Oh. You know, one thing about this blur coming in from this side, all that sunlight coming in causing a lens flare, you know what that means, don't you? That means we can start doing these outside pretty soon. And that will be good. Drifter, how you doing today? Oh, Drifter, your last comment on my last video I actually wish I did live up there. I would love for them to charge me with that. I'd take them to court. I just don't believe that would stand up if it got appealed. Shoot, Shane, we don't need a time change. This is getting lighter earlier and earlier and earlier. A month ago, these back doors didn't have anything but darkness outside of them. Now I'm having to worry about lens flare. Well, one more minute. There we go. Just clicked over to 5 after, so I guess we'll get this show on the road. A little bit of house cleaning, a little bit of unusual house cleaning today. Yes, my favorite charity is still the Hope Lodge of Atlanta, and Thomas will put a link to it in there if y'all want to contribute. And yes, I do still have a book out. The name of the book is Yesterday I Couldn't Spell Pig Farmer, and Today I Are One. It's a great primer for somebody just beginning raising pigs. But those aren't the two important ones this time. Save your money. Don't buy my book today. Don't contribute to the Hope Lodge today. Thomas is he just put up a link to a GoFundMe site. Now, I don't do GoFundMes. I've never contributed to one. I take that back. I have contributed to one. I don't think a lot of GoFundMe. I think they take too much money. Especially, I don't mind it when somebody's raising money for a business and GoFundMe takes some, but when it's for a good cause, I think they take too much money. But with that said, some of y'all out there, all y'all, I'm sure, watch homesteading type videos on YouTube, and there's a channel out there, kid from up in Minnesota. I say kid, he might take offense at me calling him a kid. He's 37 years old, I believe, married, got a 10-year-old daughter, and his name's Eric, and his channel is Life in Farmland. Now, if y'all watch him, if you've been watching YouTube much, he always put up 2 videos a week. 4 months ago, those videos just stopped. I don't notice when people's videos stop. Whenever I get notifications, I go watch a video if it's a channel I like. But when they just stop, I kind of don't notice. But I was watching somebody else's video yesterday, and they mentioned him, and I went over to his channel, and there hadn't been a video in 4 months. So I went to the community tab on his channel. It didn't say anything about what had happened. All it said was that we didn't mean for all this to get out in public, and we were just trying to take care of it within ourselves, and everything's going to work out okay, and that was about it. And a lot of people replied, hang in there, you're in our prayers, and all that. Well, let me tell you about Eric. Like I say, he's 37 years old. Good kid. I mean, just a good kid. I'd be proud to call him my son. His type 1 diabetic from childhood, and dealt with it just fine. He did all the youth sports, everything. He did everything just fine. And then a few years ago, actually, I'm not sure exactly how long. If you go to the GoFundMe page and read it, it'll tell you. A couple years ago, he got a bad batch of insulin. That insulin's killed his kidneys. First, he was in type 1 kidney failure. Then it progressed to type 2 kidney failure. Then he went to the doctor one day to get some lab results, and the doctor told him it was type 3 kidney failure. And he wasn't even home before his phone rang, and it was his doctor calling back about the blood they had just drawn and said, go to the ER. You're in type 4 kidney failure. Went to the ER. Eric needs a transplant. He needs a kidney transplant and a pancreas transplant. What's bad is, like a lot of us, Me, for example, could stand some dental work, and he's put it off. I'm guessing because he doesn't have insurance for dental work. He probably has good medical and doesn't have much in the way of dental. They won't do the transplants until he has some dental work done, some serious dental work done. When your teeth are all messed up, it's a vector. Your teeth are an awesome vector for disease, for bacteria infections. He's got to have his mouth straightened out before he can have a transplant. And he's got to do that out of his own pocket. And plus, not able to work, his wife needing to take off as much as she can to be with him medically. They're in a bind. And so if y'all will skip on the, don't forget about it, but if you'll skip on the Hope Lodge and skip on my book this week, if y'all would, go to that GoFundMe page that Thomas put up, and I'm sure he'll put it up again here in just a minute. Go to that GoFundMe page and throw a few bucks that way. If you like Starbucks, throw them a latte. Miss a cup of coffee one day this week. I cannot imagine being in that shape. I've got good insurance. Y'all know about my medical issues. I got some serious medical issues, and they're expensive as all get out. The last few years, my medical bills have run over $1 million a year. They hadn't cost me diddly. I've spent so little it's not even worth keeping up with. But what he's going through is expensive, and I bet you he doesn't have as good of insurance as I got. And I know he's having to pay for this dental stuff out of his pocket just to get where he can have the medical stuff done. So you Starbucks drinkers, skip on a latte. And you folks that, like me, we all piss away money somewhere. Throw some toward that GoFundMe site. Now, with that said, let's talk about, sorry I'm late. Who is it? Oh, Dave, don't worry about it. I've been late to your live stream so many times it's not even funny. Matter of fact, I think that's how I usually come in. Better late than never, but I'm here. But anyway, the title of the video, Defining Failure. Now, Shane, you watched Jason's video yesterday or the day before, and you know that he addressed failure. Some people, evidently, it's a channel Shane and I watch. Some of y'all might watch it too. The Crockers. You'd never know that I like the Crockers. You look at Jason, you look at me, and you just think, that ain't Bob's kind of channel. Well, surprise, surprise, it is. But Jason Crocker is doing some homesteading on his own, and he's roughing it. He's living in a tent in Oklahoma, okay? You know how cold it's been here the last couple of weeks. He's living in a tent in Oklahoma trying to put something together. And I don't know if people gave him a hard time. I don't know what the backstory was, but he did a video yesterday or the day before, and basically it asked the question, am I a failure? And I'm going to tell y'all the same thing I told him when I commented back. Deciding if you're a failure or not is simple. It is the easiest question in the world to answer, and you answer it with another question. If he asked me, if he was sitting right here in front of me and said, Bob, am I a failure? I'd say, Jason, I don't know. Answer this question. Have you quit? He told me he had quit. He had tried and didn't make it and quit. I'd just say, yeah, Jason, you're a failure. But if he said, no, I'm still trying, but I just don't seem to be getting anywhere, I'd say, Jason, as long as you're still trying, you're not a failure. Let me give y'all the best example I know of that you're not a failure if you haven't quit. Tell you about a guy, you may have heard of him before. Have any of y'all ever heard of a fellow named Thomas Jefferson? You know, the guy that invented the light bulb? Y'all ever heard of him? Do you know how many attempts he made? And I've said this on some other videos. I may have said it, I don't think I've ever said this in a live stream. But I've said it on some other videos. Do you know how many attempts Thomas Jefferson made to invent the light bulb? And by attempts, I don't mean thinking it through and all. I mean physically putting together an attempt and trying it out. Do you know how many times Thomas Jefferson tried to build a light bulb? Over Edison. Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Edison, big difference. Thanks for straightening me out, Mary Grace. Do you know how many times he tried to build the light bulb? Over 2,000 attempts. 2,000 times he physically put something together that he thought would work, and it didn't, before he came up with a working light bulb. He didn't quit. None of those 2,000 were failures. They were ideas he had that didn't work, and he moved on to the next one. And by the way, some of those 2,000 failures have been commercial successes. They weren't light bulbs. You couldn't switch them on and it put out light for hours and days. My phone's telling me about notifications. Some of them weren't light bulbs, but they were commercial successes. Do you remember back before LED bulbs and back before LED lights for your camera, which is what I'm using here, and back before electronic images, and back when you actually took a picture and you had a piece of negative that you printed to print a picture? How did you light those? Because those films were slow and you needed a lot of light to be able to get that image on film so you could print it on paper. You used a flash bulb. A little light bulb that had air in it. It hadn't been evacuated like regular light bulbs now. What makes a light bulb not do like a flash bulb is all the air sucked out of it, and that way that filament just glows. But before he sucked all the air out of it, he made some with the air in it. You know what happened? The electricity would hit that filament and boom, you'd have a flash of light and broken glass. So that was a failure as a light bulb. But when you wrap that in plastic, when you wrap it in something so that when the flash goes off, it doesn't break the bulb and send glass shards everywhere, but contains the glass, you have a flash bulb, just like they used to use on cameras, just like they still use on some cameras. I mean, they still make all that stuff for old fogies that like using film. They still make all that stuff. They still make flash bulbs. Remember flash cubes? Camera, you'd push it and it'd flash and that film would advance and the little cube would turn a quarter of the way around. You had another flash bulb ready. That's a Thomas Edison failure. So failures aren't failures. You have not failed ever until you quit. When you quit, then you're a failure. Not 1 minute before. Let's see what I'm missing over here. I'm seeing a lot of scroll going by. I can see some I can see it on my phone too, but I can't really read it. So let me look over here and see what I'm missing. You're a little bit late, Mary Grace, but not much. Thanks for straightening me out on Thomas Edison versus Thomas Jefferson. I cannot believe I did that. Oh, me. Yeah, go ahead, laugh at me, Drifter. Just because I can't tell Jefferson from Edison go ahead, laugh at me. You missed your peanuts, remember? I got to pick at you on that one. Oh, me. Girl Crazy Rockstar. What is your actual name? I can't say Girl Crazy Rockstar every time I'm going to say something to you. Tell me your name so I can call your name, and eventually I'll remember it. It'll take me a little while. No, Grace just covered everybody with a hello. Yeah, they were both real important. Okay, Dylan, now I'm going to warn you right now, Dylan. I will ask your name 3 or 4 more times. Probably no more this time, but next week when you come in and maybe the week after. I am horrible on names. But I will get it eventually. Notice I know that Two Cedars Micro Farm is Dave and Darcy, and I know that Kinfolk Farm of Georgia is Shane. So eventually I remember. It just takes me a little while. Let's talk about prepping. You're a new one in here. I don't think you've been in here before, or do I just have a really bad memory? There's my daughter-in-law. Hey, Kayla, how you doing? Lily, how can I not know your name? It's in your channel name. Or is your channel Lily Homestead when your name is really Susan? Well, welcome. Let's talk about prepping. I appreciate the new visitor. I really do. And hang around so that you won't be just a visitor. You'll be a regular. You're cooking dinner. What are we having for dinner, Kayla? Oh, Lily is really Chrissy. Okay. You got me on that one. All right, but now I have to ask. If your name is Chrissy, how did you wind up with the channel name of Lily Homestead? No, Thomas, I have no trouble with faces, which is really weird. I can see you if I meet you once for 5 minutes today, and I don't see you for 25 years. And you walk up to me 25 years from now and say, now, I know you from somewhere. Where do I know you from? And if it's not in context, like if I were to meet you down at the local farmer's market, and then in 25 years, I see you at the Atlanta airport, which is highly unlikely because I don't go to the Atlanta airport. When it's out of context, I sure can't put a name to it, but I never forget a face. And yes, I can tell you and Dawn apart. Don't ask me how. Oh, Lily's your last name. Okay. Ah, she knows Prepstetter Bob because Prepstetter Bob knew that was her last name. Okay. So, let's see. So Shane, I'm stumbling through that one real good. Shane, have you seen that video I was talking about that Jason did about is he a failure? If you have, just in case he didn't see my comment, give him a call and tell him that Bob said, no, you're not a failure unless you quit. If he quits, then I'll call him out for being a failure. He better not quit. I got too much time invested in watching his videos. I don't know if he and his wife are permanently split up or if they're just needing a break from each other, Drifter. Yeah, his wife's Jaylena. The channel used to be the Crocker Homestead, and now it's just the Crockers. They did that 100-day ranch rescue thing in Texas. And then, I don't know, I'm not sure exactly what it is. It's none of my business, so I hadn't stuck my nose in, but yeah, that's who I'm talking about. Kayla, let's see. Takes me about 25, no, it takes me about 45 minutes to get there from here. Oh, okay, Drifter. Um, it's just the Crockers. His channel name changed. It may have gotten lost when his channel name changed. It changed over for me. I don't, but some it does and some it doesn't. YouTube, you never can figure out why things happen on YouTube. But it's just the Crockers. And then he's got another, he does another channel, Little Shorts. The Crockers is pretty much what he's doing with his homesteading thing. Building a cabin, 16 by 16 cabin, and all that sort of thing. Coffee with the Crockers is, Shane, how would you describe it? Sort of a 10-minute, it's kind of like if you've ever watched any of mine that are called coffee chats, or any of these live streams where it's just talking back and forth with folks, nothing, no particular topic like there was today about what is a failure. That's kind of what the Coffee with the Crockers is. See you, Bob. I'll be over to see your live stream. By the way, folks, Prepsteader Bob that's fixing to check out, 2 hours from, well, 2 hours from when I usually finish, 2.5 hours from now. At 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 o'clock Central, go to Bob's channel. He's got Prepsteader Bob as one of his channels, but the one that is a live stream every Sunday is, come on, Thomas, put a link up, is I'm going to wait you out, Thomas. All right, I'm not going to wait him out. The channel is the Self-Reliant Roadshow. It comes on at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Yeah, Shane, sort of a daily wrap-up, that sort of thing. The Crockers, he tries to focus on what he's actually doing, building on the cabin, things like that. But Coffee with the Crockers is almost a stream of consciousness. Sometimes it's a daily wrap-up. Here's what he did. Here's what he's got planned. Sometimes it's, am I a failure? I think that was a Coffee with the Crockers, actually. I don't think it was on the Crockers. I think it was Coffee with the Crockers. But he's again, I'm going to, I know how I'm getting old. I talked about Eric, the guy that needs the kidney transplant earlier with the GoFundMe page, which, Thomas, if you would stick that up there again. Talked about him being a kid. He's 37 years old. Jason Crocker. If these people ever meet me, they're going to want to whoop my butt. And it makes me feel old because when I think of him, I think he's a kid. And he's, I think, about 30, 31 years old. About the size of my, about, not the size, about the age of my oldest boy. He's not near the size of my oldest boy. My oldest boy is about 6'2" and about 300 pounds. Yeah, Shane. Oh, Go Crazy Rockstar. See, I've already forgotten it. I'll get it. I'll get it. It'll come back to me in a minute. Dylan? Not Dylan, but close. Anyway, what's the good song? Did I say the name of a song and didn't even realize it? Okay, I got it. Yay for me! Believe me, that's an accomplishment. Oh, okay. I missed that one. It must have scrolled by. Oh, me. So y'all have any comments, input, anything else on either on the topic of the video, or anything that I'm missing, leaving out, or just you got something else you want to talk about? This is y'all's show. Just because I'm the one sitting here with a channel, and I'm the one sitting here talking to the camera, and y'all are having to type on your keyboard, that don't mean this is my show, and y'all just watching it. This is y'all's show, because this show could happen without me. If somebody would start the computer up and start up my channel, though, it wouldn't happen without y'all. Without people watching, there's no show here. So, anybody? Hello, Rebecca. I think you're a new one too, or am I just my memory fading? Dylan, being a farmer, it is the absolute best and the absolute worst life you can live. Okay? There are no set hours. Let me approach it from this direction. I sold some pigs a few weeks ago. Due to some health reasons, I had to get out of the livestock business. I had to sell my pigs. And the guy I sold them to, things didn't go just exactly according to plan when he came to pick them up. He couldn't get his trailer where it was supposed to be, and he's just ready to quit. This is just too much for me. I mean, he was stressing out big time. And I told him, I said, if this bothers you, the fact that you thought it should take 5 minutes to load the pigs and it's going to take 10, or the fact that things don't go exactly like you want them to, or the fact that it's starting to rain and we're outside having to do stuff that's better done in the dry, if any of that bothers you, you need to forget farming. He's a hobby farmer. He's from up north, Wisconsin, I think. But anyway, he's from somewhere up north and moved south, get away from the snow, bought him 5 or 10 acres, and wants to be a farmer. They've had chickens, they've had horses, but he wants to be a real farmer with livestock that you eat, so he wanted some pigs. And his neighbor was a former client of mine who's bought pigs from me. And he was telling him about raising pigs and got him interested. And he and I struck a deal, and he didn't keep his end of the bargain, but that's a whole other video. And things just weren't going good. And finally I told him, I said, look here, if you think this is a problem, this is just farming. Nothing goes right. Or, no, let me change that. A lot of times things don't go right. And if that freaks you out, and if that just puts so much stress on you that you can't deal with it, the fact that you couldn't get your trailer where it needed to be, exactly when it needed to be there, if that freaks you out, okay, don't be a farmer. Go back and get you a job in a cubicle. You go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning, you get off at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you know what your paycheck's going to be at the end of the week. Everything's cool. Because if you can't deal with things cropping up, that's just farming, then you got no business being a farmer. But the good sides, and by the way, you're not going to get rich being a farmer either. But you can make a living. But the good sides. We produced between 125 and 150 piglets a year here. I was just small potatoes, 5 sows and a boar. A small potatoes farmer. And yes, selling those piglets helped support the farm. But you know what? The best part of raising those pigs it wasn't the money the piglets brought in. It was going out to the farrowing pen, using my toe to push aside a little bit of straw and get me a place on some firm ground, and turning an orange 5-gallon Home Depot bucket upside down and sitting there with the mama pig while she's having babies. And knowing that she trusted me to be in there because she could kill me if she wanted to. My sows were anywhere from 300 to 500 pounds. My boar was 900 pounds. And they could hurt me, but they trusted me. I was their friend. I wasn't just some guy that threw feed over a fence. I was their friend. And they'd let me pick up their brand new piglets, well, except for one sow. I had one sow that was super, super, super protective of her babies, and she wouldn't let anybody touch them, including me. But the other 4 sows, pick up the pigs, handle the pigs, no problem. You go back and see one of the videos, a fellow that got part of my pigs, did a video about a week ago. Go back and look at one of my videos, riding the Appalachian Mountains with a surprise. And you can see one of my sows that went to another farm, that 2 days after she got to the other farm, a little litter of piglets in there, 9 of them little bacon seeds. That's what I call piglets, is bacon seeds. And I love doing it for the animals. I love doing it. I like the connection to where we come from and why we still survive. We don't survive because of Kroger. We don't survive because of Mobil Oil. We don't survive because of Monsanto or any of that. We survive because of that dirt out there. I don't know if you're religious or not. I am. And the Bible says ashes to ashes and dust to dust. We all start from dirt somewhere, somehow. That's how everything gets started. And that's where we're going back to. And I like the connection to that. Hadn't always been this way. I'm 65 years old. And believe it or not, I was not always a toothless redneck pig farmer. See, toothless? I was a coat and tie type person. Had my own business over in Gwinnett County, biggest county, fastest growing county in Georgia at that time. Metro Atlanta County, had my own business over there. And if anybody had ever told me I'd be a pig farmer one day, if anybody ever told me I'd be a farmer one day, I told them they were nuts. Now, I wouldn't go back to that. I made good money. I wouldn't go back to that. There hadn't been enough money printed. It's really nice to be close to where we all come from. And I figured the 2 places we come from is the dirt and God. And it's really nice it's nice being close to the dirt, and it's nice doing my dead level best to be as close to God as I can. Don't always succeed, but I try to be there as much as I can. Now, let's see what I'm missing. Oh, me. Dylan, don't listen to Thomas. He's up in New York. He and his girlfriend Dawn came down here, 3 months ago now, 4 months ago now. And I sent them home with a pig that weighed about 75 pounds in the back seat of a Honda Accord. Too long a story. Go to Thomas Schmidt Homestead Projects. There's a video about that. He'll teach you all about that. Came to your channel before you had your surgery. Rebecca, was that the last time you were here? Or was the last time you got here was back when Out West Homestead sent folks over here, or was that just one of the times? Hondas move chicken and pigs. I don't know about the chickens. He didn't leave here with any chickens, but I have seen the backseat of that Honda full of pig. Live pig. By the way, Thomas, how is Pepper doing? Switchel. This is the best stuff in the world for staying hydrated. And I will be doing a video on it sometime real soon because we're getting close to warm weather. Oh, okay, Rebecca. Then the reason I was asking, you said you came to the channel before I had surgery. So since you come and see stuff regular, you know there's more of that coming up, right? I don't know. There's a lot of new folks in here. And I try to be just as, to use a political word, transparent as I can on this channel. And if there's folks in here that don't know exactly my backstory or much of it, I might just get into that a little bit. I tell you what, I do know you're a good person, Rebecca. If you like watching Out West Homestead, you're a good person. Susie and Bill, they are awesome. I just wish southern New Mexico wasn't so far away. Oh, okay. I'll leave it out for a little bit. I feel like I talk too much about that stuff sometimes. Oh, okay, Dylan. I guess you've watched some old videos too. Oh. Oh my. Mary Grace knows Rebecca. We're just one big happy family on this channel, aren't we? Everybody knows everybody. I miss June being in here today. I really do. Especially given why she's not. Nona Grace. Mary Grace, you came in a little bit late. Since you're here all the time and June's here all the time, and you came in a little bit late, I figured I'd just let you know that June's not here because her best friend's 16, 17-year-old son was killed Wednesday. Got hit by a train on his way to work. And the funeral is this afternoon, so that's where she is. And Mary Grace, I know you go back and watch these again. You've said so. I know you watch them all again. Oh, by the way, how's Jim coming along hunting for that food taster? But anyway, I know you watch these again. At the start, I think it was before you came in, I was talking about there's a link in the, farther up in the chat for a GoFundMe page for somebody. I explain all that in the first part of the video. You might want to keep those folks in your prayers too. Yeah, Mary Grace, tell you same thing I said back when I was telling everybody earlier. Parents are not supposed to bury their children. Just not supposed to happen. Parents are not supposed to outlive their kids. I cannot imagine that. Are you sure it's snoring? He didn't eat something he shouldn't have eaten, did he? Y'all don't this is a standing joke between Mary Grace and me. 2-3 months ago, she did a video on her channel, and I forget how the topic came up. It was something about dying, or they weren't planning on dying, or at least I'm not planning on dying, or something. And I commented back, well, you said you weren't planning on dying, but what about Jim? Does he need to be hiring a taste tester? I forget exactly how it all went, but it was something like that. Does he need to be hiring a taste tester? Well, Mary Grace did another video yesterday or the day before. And in there she commented, Mary Grace, what did you say? I can't remember exactly how it went. But I just had to comment back. Jim might need to be revisiting that taste tester thing from a few months ago. Oh, I've watched enough of your videos, Mary Grace, to know you wouldn't hurt a flea. You wouldn't hurt a flea if he stood still and handed you the hammer to do it with. Oh yeah, can you stop breathing? Jim, she was recording a video, and Jim was, no, it wasn't about a video. Mary Grace, I'm not going to say how that came about because I will screw it up and it will embarrass you because I will mess up how that came about. So I'm not going to tell anybody. They're just going to have to go to your channel and watch your video from, was that yesterday's video or the day before? I think it was the day before. I'm not sure. I think it was Friday's video. And in there it involved asking Jim to stop breathing, and my comment was he might need to revisit the taste tester. But I'm not going to explain how all of that came about because I will wind up embarrassing the heck out of Mary Grace and myself, and I don't want to do that to either one of us. I'll screw it all up. Yesterday's video. Okay, now y'all know where to go after my video, but before Prepsteader Bob does the Self-Reliant Roadshow. Is go see why Jim needs to hire a taste tester. Yeah, you would apologize to the flea. Oh, me. Well, folks, it's been about 45 minutes. I refuse to stretch these out just for the watch time. Y'all hang in here and listen to me ramble on as long as I did. And I appreciate that. But I don't believe in stretching these out just to make for a lot of hours on YouTube and up my stats or anything. They are what they are. So I'm going to call it a night. I am going to ask y'all, Thomas, if you would, he just put the GoFundMe for Eric at Life and Farmland. He just put that link up again. And, well, there he goes. He did it again. Good deal, Thomas. And if y'all like the video, let's see. Running a little bit short on thumbs ups down there. I got 13 watching and only 6 thumbs up. Y'all might want to hit that thumbs up. I'd sure appreciate it. And if you're not a subscriber, although I think all of y'all are subscribers, but if you're not a subscriber, you would hit that subscriber button down there and hit that little bell. Ring that bell so you get notifications. I need to do that farther away. That was right by the microphone. I'm sorry. Probably busted some eardrums. Hit the notification bell so you'll get notifications whenever I have a new video or a live stream's about to happen. And have an absolutely awesome week. I'm going to. And if I'm going to, do y'all want me to leave you behind? And remember, awesome weeks are not easy. They're not easy at all, but they are so simple. All it takes for an awesome week is to remember 2 little old things. Now, I know I don't have much of a memory, but I can remember these 2 things. Surely y'all can. Just remember that the tomb was empty. And remember that he is alive. Now, I'll see y'all in the next video in the next few days, and then I'll see you next Sunday, next live stream. See ya.